Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Nittany Draws. I'm Nittany. Today I am going to take you on a little room tour of my office. I got it cleaned up and everything, so it's ready for people to come visit. And I figured this would be a better update than me just saying I'm doing stuff behind the scenes again. You know, like that's getting kind of boring. So here is my 2015 office update, and I will be happy to show you around. All right, so this is the view of my office when you first enter into the office from the hallway. In the hallway here, you can kind of see the door jamb as you walk in. So you walk in straight looking at my office desk and everything. It's a pretty big office compared to the previous one that I had at the old apartment, which, I mean, it's pretty big. You can see. There you go. And that's the little side corner thing. So we'll start over here in this little corner up here. So where it starts is up top. That is something entirely new up at the very, very tip top there, up there. And then over here is the Trash to Treasure art piece that I did for the channel. This is last year's self-portrait from 2015. And then this is just a piece done with watercolor that I really enjoyed. And then over here, this is the first acrylic painting that I ever actually did. And I did this in my art class in high school. And it was a challenge sort of thing where we would take a song and we'd bring our iPod in and we'd listen to it on the headphones that we had, and we would have to interpret that song into a painting. Masochist of Decadence was the song that I did for that. Then down here in the corner, I have this little guy, and this is, I don't know who the artist is anymore. My husband and I bought this art piece probably 6 or 7 years ago, 6 years ago, because we went to Motor City Comic Con and bought it probably 2010, maybe 2011. And we have another one, which we'll get to later, from the same artist. And then down here is a drawing. I can't tell. Yeah, it's from Pinhead, who is the owner of the shop where I go to get all my piercings and tattoos. And he's really, really cool. And then all the way at the bottom down there is some plants. Those are just little baby hens and chickens, which is a succulent variety that I love. And then right here, this is one of my drawings, which had sold, and then there was some trouble with shipping or something, and the person never got it, and I tried contacting them and they never got back to me. So until they decide to contact me to get her back, she's gonna stay on my wall. Up here, which you guys can see in a lot of my videos up here, this is one of the like big focus areas of my entire office. So what's up here? These are pillows that I got from Cynical Sniper, who is a real life friend of mine, but who I met because I wanted these pillows, and we became friends after the fact. And I ordered the entire set of all of the Sailor Senshi, and that includes Chibi Moon right there in the middle. And yeah, it was really, really fun. I was so excited to get these, and they turned out beautifully. So hats off to Cynical Sniper for all of that funness. And then right here is my Sailor Moon wand, which I received in a trade when I was in 5th grade from one of my very best friends. And then here are a bunch of my miniature drawings and some of my piggy banks that my husband and I collect when we go on trips together. And then my Wolverine wall hanging, my marquee letters that I got Brittany and Lee, which is me and my husband. And then this is my This is my China doll. It is a tree. It used to just be a little house plant. And when I was growing up, my mom had one and I loved it, and my grandma heard that I loved it, so she bought me one and she brought it to my house, and it has thrived ever since. It actually, let me go over here. It actually goes all the way up to the top of the window. So it's gotten pretty huge at this point. And it just keeps growing and growing. She's a little wilty today. I'm not sure what that's all about. She was watered though, so I don't know. Now we're getting into some of the art supplies. So here's the art supplies. Up top here are the panels that I have prepared for my next art piece that I'm working on, and those will be live pretty soon here. I have a couple of books here and under here as well, and those are my sort of go-to art books that I love the most. And then underneath, I have my address book. Oh, I have hiccups. Is my address book, which is actually a 3-ring binder so that I can always add pages. Right here is my electronics drawer, which has all sorts of stuff in it. It's got my tablet, which I don't really use very often. It's got Etsy guides that I received as a gift from family. It's got my Kindle. It's got some of my old, not so great digital cameras. This is what I used to use to record with back in the good old days. And this little guy always screwed up the files. So I had to stop using that. Headphones, extra tripods and cords and all that kind of stuff. That's what lives in there. And usually it also has my chargers and my microphone in there, but because I was recording today, my microphone is still out. Then right here are the series of books and sketchbooks and stuff that I use on the regular for inspiration, and I will do a separate video of those probably pretty soon here. And then down here is the art supplies that I use pretty often. This is my watercolor ground in titanium white, which I just got, but I haven't actually used yet, so it's on my list of things to do. And then my Copic various ink refill, which of course we use all the time. And then this is all of my Crayola markers and pencils and stuff that I used for the cheap art supplies challenge. And then these are my regular Prismacolor pencils. And then these are my not my light fast, what are they called? Oh no, they are light fast. These are my light fast Prismacolor pencils. I don't think it'll focus because it's shiny. There we go. Anyway, those are my light fast. And then these are my mechanical pencils, which is in the most obvious spot because I use these all the time. And then these are my kind of etc. markers. I use them a lot for journaling and for kind of like sketching sort of things, but I don't really use them on my full pieces because they're not acid free, so they won't hold up for very long. And then in between is a little pencil box that I keep for when I go on the run. And then these are dividers for those the Copic marker boxes that I did a separate review on. Down here, which is the next shelf down, these are all of my different paint brushes, and then my ballpoint pens, which I use for all sorts of stuff. And then these guys, the Color Appeal pencils, which I love sketching with, especially if I have like a big sheet of paper. They work great. Then my Prismacolor watercolor pencils and my watercolor palette. And then one of my favorite things of all time, which you can tell by how beat up they are, these are watercolor crayons. And I have done a lot of pieces with those. And then those are BJDIs. And then this is a journal. And then this is how I keep my business organized right here, these file folders. I use this one specifically for receipts relating to shows that I do, and then I have other ones all over my room and you'll see them. So then we go up off the floor. Next, we're gonna go over to my desk. This is my big fluffy chair, which is getting moved, but it's big and fluffy. So if you're sitting at my desk, this is what you'll find. Faygo at all times, because it's my favorite. Then I have two different things for water. This is my to-go container of water, which I keep near my office at all times in case I need to go to the cafe or something and I want to paint while I'm there. This is what I bring with me. And then this is the painting water that I use all the time here. It just got emptied, so it's actually still a little damp in there. And then this is my pencil sharpener and my masking tape. And then behind there are all of my different straight edges and shape edges and things like that. It's got French curves, and this one's my favorite one because it has the rolly thing on it. So it rolls across the page really easily, and it's my favorite. And then my highlighter collection, which I use on my journal and my calendar and all of that kind of stuff, which my calendar would normally be right here. And you can see everything is color coded in my calendar, which is why there's all those different colors there. And then right here is just kind of like scrap paper that I use for colors and deciding what I'm going to do next. And then this is my pencil box that I carry with me. This usually has my color stuff in it, whereas the little blue one has my pencils so that they're separated inside my bag. And then up top here is my kneaded eraser. And then my DS and colored pens. They're from Le Pen, and they don't work well with Copic markers. I originally bought them to go with Copic markers, so I don't really use them very much because they blur all over the place. Mints, ibuprofen, and blue ink. This is my Ot Light, which goes over the top of my pieces, so you can kind of see like the way that will work. It lights up this area here so that my pieces, when I am editing, I don't have to do much color correction because it's already really pretty. And then you can see this big old thingy. I got this for Christmas this year, and it's my new favorite organizational thing ever. Hello, allergies. Welcome back. The first couple, I used to have the whole thing start further over, but I since have moved these down here because I use them often enough that having them closer makes more sense. And they're divided by color. So there's that. And then this one here is like kind of miscellaneous stuff that I use all the time. Why aren't you focusing? Come on, get together. Get together, buddy. There you go. This is sort of my like etc. container. It's got ballpoint pens. It's got clicky erasers. It's got my Micron. And it's got my Wacom pen for my tablet. These are my color erase pencils. I don't have a huge collection of them, but I have a few. And then it looks like there's one escapee down there that doesn't belong. And then more Copic markers and Studio Series. There's one lone Prismacolor marker hiding in there. And then they're still divided by color. These are my colorless blenders, all of my white gel pens, my colorful different inking pens, my metallic inking pens are here, and then you're metallic. And then my regular inking pens are here. The stuff that I need to, you know, like fix up my Copics, that's right here, and those are like different nibs and stuff that I need to replace if I need to replace, that's where I would find them. I have this up on little stilts here, so sometimes things get underneath, and that's because my desk isn't actually like straight, so things kept falling out, and it was really annoying, so I stopped having that there. Then over here is my laptop, which is, it's usually right here next to me because I'm watching TV or something while I'm working. And then this is usually there. So there's my cords and everything, and the cord for my phone is right here, and it links up and around, and then the phone goes up here, and that's how I record. And then this is my hodgepodge of stuff that I feel like every single artist has. Primarily in the center here, this is all adhesives. My watercolors that are like pad watercolors are in the back here, and then my Copic marker refills. I've got watercolor mask in the back. I have various acrylics that aren't of artist quality, and then I have some colored powders that are like shiny. And then I have like my different shiny stuff over here. My inks are all right here, and then I got some stamps that I don't really use very often, but when I have to package things, I'll sometimes pull them out. And then behind my laptop here is another tripod, some snacks. That's Cheez-Its and raisins. And then this is usually where I would keep a thing of paper towel, but I don't have any paper towel, so it's empty. And then, oh man, here's the chaos. So, have you ever wondered how many staples is too many staples? Because apparently I haven't. This whole thing is mostly staples. I've got staples, 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 staples. That's all staples. Then there's some buttons that I use for eyeballs, a sketchbook, a sucker in a jar so that it doesn't get sticky everywhere. These are my different cutters. This is a mat cutter from Logan. And what you do is you kind of like measure it out, and then when you push down the thing, then the razor comes out on the bottom and cuts it at the proper angle for mats. So that's how that works. And then I've got various different circle punches and corner punches. That's pretty much it. I don't really use them a ton, but they're there if I need them. This is my washi tape. Believe it or not, I only bought one box of washi tape. This is all that was in that box. It was chaos. And I use that for journaling and stuff like that. And then up under here, let's pull it out. So up underneath there in that little basket, this is refills for printer ink and a ton and a half of Post-it notes because I use them all the time. And then wonky scissors and a cutter for fabric. And then over here, this is my swing line stapler. I use this for making journals and things like that for myself, and sometimes I sell them on my Etsy shop with like original art and stuff on them, so I had to get a really nice one. That way I could justify selling stuff. This is cardstock right here, and I use this cardstock for taking notes, for printing signage for my shows, things like that. This is regular printer paper. This is a journal that I'm working with one of my friends on to create like an ongoing sort of art project thing. And then that is sticker paper right here, and then graph paper underneath it, some random little shelf thingies, black paper, colored paper, clips, receipts. In the very back are some leftover note cards from college that I still haven't used. And then above that, this is my degree. This is some more cardstock or Bristol random paper, random notebooks. At the very top are my sketchbooks up here, and then my Liquitex Basics, and then my big sketchbooks, which are what I primarily use. In the background over here, this is my hex chart for Prismacolors, and then that's Ophelia. Hi, Ophelia. She's naked. My regular stapler, some little props, my Pikachu. He's activated by sunlight. He's a little dusty though. And then behind there, that mustard yellow thing, that's my planner. And then behind that is my sketchbook and like my Pokemon list of characters and things like that. And then in the background over here is my tile set and some more random stuff. That is my slave drive, which has all of my videos since I started on YouTube, and a thing of lotion, and my microphone that I use. In the background, way back here, those are the frames that I'm going to use for the second half of the Zodiac Girls. And the flowers my hubby got for me for our anniversary yesterday. Below my desk, you're going to start seeing some cool stuff. Way in the back, those are my to-go cases for my Copic markers when I decide to wander about. And then here is my filing cabinet. So it fits perfectly underneath my desk, which is awesome. And there's a couple of like random shipping things underneath there. Look, there's a cat. Hello, cat. He came to visit. So there's these two folders, which is what I was talking about earlier about having lots of these. These two folders are used to organize my prints when I go to art shows. And inside of them is one of each of my different prints. Well, not one, a couple of each of my different prints. So that when people purchase, I don't have to carry this big old thing with me. And then inside is how I store all of my different postcards. So I keep them inside of these little photo containers, and each of them has my different postcards in them, and they're organized so that when I like rifle through, anytime I get an order for them, I can easily just pull the one that I need out and just, you know, kind of look from the side. I can tell who it is that's in there. And then I can see which ones I need to reorder, because like this one, there's 5 or 6 of them in there, but then I know that this one I need to reorder because there's only one left. So I've got to reorder her. So that's how that's organized. Then down below there, these are my prints. This is how I organize them. At the very front are originals that I don't think are good enough to put into my regular portfolio, so I just keep them up here. And then my prints are kept inside of here. My prints, the way I box them is each of them is hand autographed, individually numbered, and put inside of a little plastic sleeve. This one still has my old branding, which is not who I am anymore. I'm a Nittani now. So that's how I keep them organized. Where does she live? Right here. Put it back in with her friends. So I have Persephone in here, Cupid, Artemis, Nyx, Star, Midnight, and Bo Peep. And I think I only have 15 of Bo Peep left. And then the Bobtail Squid. And I believe that's everything in there right now. Yep, that's all the prints I have right now. If I decide to get more ordered pretty soon, which I probably will for a couple of the most recent pieces that I've been doing, then that's where they'll go. Been thinking about painting this maybe, but I haven't decided yet. And then right here is my go bag. It's technically like a laptop bag or something that I got for free from Victoria's Secret, but it fits a sketchbook into it really well. So whenever I need to go on a little trip, that's what I take. And then behind me, there are a bunch of random little bits and bobs from the stuff that I love. So we're going to go on a little walk. So from here, this is where I stand up. That's my dog's bowl down there at the bottom. And then there's this rack. I kind of use it as a drying rack. It used to be for scrapbook pages, but I don't really use it anymore for that. I thought about selling it on Craigslist, but I haven't gotten that yet. There's my awful backyard that my dog has torn apart. Here is the up top area of my shelves. Bunch of art. And then I've had this little guy since I was a baby. And then a bunch of art and a bunch of books. More books. Books. Manga, and then more books. And then all the way down at the bottom is like dividers and stuff. That's my scrapbooks and sketchbooks and portfolios. And then this is my shipping area. All the way down at the bottom is my machine binder, which I use to make journals and things like that. Right here is just like assorted cords. Then my paper cutter, an extra printer, which is a laser printer instead of a regular printer. These are all of my combs for the binding machine down here. Random bits and bobs. This is stuff for hanging artwork, like on the very top here, like that. And then it's also got an extra microphone and an extra button punch for making buttons. And then right here is stamps and stuff for the business, my postage scale. Then it's got some extra canvases. These are my mat boards, which all my prints come with mats. Here's some that are pre-matted, so you can kind of see what they look like. That's what they look like when they're sent. And they have like a little back air on the back of them. And then a little business card inside. And that's what my prints look like when they're sent. And then some extra scrapbooking stuff that I have laying around. Basically all of that. And then here's some of the artwork that I have. Which, you know, lovely. This one is an original I got from Inktober from last year. And that's Katie Cronenberg. And then this is Crystal Mielkarek, which I got at Venus Rising in 2015. And then this one is Jessica something, but I don't know what her last name is. And this is a limited edition canvas print. It's not an original. And then this is the first piece I ever did for YouTube, so I've kept a hold of it. Even though I am way better now, I'm going to keep it for posterity's sake. And then down here in the bottom are my extra frames for art pieces that are coming up. And then my oversized Bristol pad. And then a little seat where I just kind of relax. Sometimes I read there. And that's my whole room. Well, I guess there's my printer, in case anyone wanted to see the printer. I don't have a fancy printer. I get all of my artwork printed off-site, so this is just for office work. And that's my office. Yay. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Today was so much fun, and I'm glad that I was able to take you a little walkthrough of my room and show you kind of what it looks like behind the scenes here at the Copley house. I clearly have a lot of stuff that I still want to do, and there's more things that I can always add to my room, but for now I'm really, really happy with it, and I worked really hard to make it a safe space, a comfortable space to do art and to bring people in and to enjoy. So I really hope you liked seeing everything behind the scenes, and make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below if you'd like to see a video about my books that I love, that I keep by my desk in order to spark some creativity. Just let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the very next video.